Greetings everyone. I know it's been quite some time before I've posted anything on this channel, but recently I've gone through my first semester at North Carolina State University, and so coming back from that, just reflecting on it a little bit, have a few or a dozen points that I just wanted to share with you. And even if you're not going off to college, maybe you're moving out eventually, maybe you're starting at a new school, whatever the case may be, I hope you'll find some encouragement and some guidance from these points. And so the first one I would make is to use the new opportunity you have to grow. Now I know too often I would say children move out from being with their parents and then they use that time to they use the lack of oversight and discipline to make poor decisions. So I would challenge you to do the opposite. For me, not being with my parents helped me to be more of who I am. And again, I know a lot of people use that in a bad way, but when I'm with my family and my parents, I tend to naturally act as a child, since that is who I've been and who I am to them. And so being out on my own and moving out has allowed me to act in a more mature manner and to be the person I wish to be and not the person my family expects me to be. And second would be to stay/get disciplined. This definitely depends on where you are, but again, without that oversight, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do different things. Maybe it's going to be harder to work out, maybe it's going to be harder to eat right. Maybe you already have this down pat and you've been working on it a long time, so that would be the stay. And the get is for all of you who do not do a great job of that now, and either you don't or your parents help you do it. And so when you're out on your own, that's going to be key. And one thing I would encourage is you to join a club or organization that helps you stay disciplined. For me, that's Air Force ROTC. We have required workouts, we have to wake up at a certain time, and so some people might frown upon that. But for me, it's just making sure I do that which I want to. It's helping me stay disciplined. So even if it's not that, maybe it's a club sport, maybe it's a outstanding organization, whatever it is that's pushing you and helping you be disciplined, make sure you connect with that. Third, set up a schedule. You're going to have more things you need to do than you probably ever have before. You're going to have to balance meetings with people, you're going to have to balance classes, you're going to have to balance fun activities you want to do. And so for me, I use a Google Calendar online, playing around with that. I've gotten really used to the software, but if you're more of a paper and pencil person, you do you. Just make sure you have some way you can set up your schedule, keep track of where you need to be, when you need to be, and different details that are important. Fourth, be proactive about chores. Again, without your parents, it's going to be more difficult, but cleaning your room, doing the laundry, different things like that are still very important, and you definitely still need to do them even when your parents are around. And that's going to help a little bit with the discipline. If you're doing what you need to, it's going to help you feel better, you're going to feel more healthy, and so all around good things, you're just going to have to make that a priority. Fifth, I encourage you to try to be your teacher's favorite student. That doesn't mean kiss up to the student, kiss up to the teacher. That means you're the student who's always early to class. You're thanking the teacher for the time they're giving you. For me, on online classes, that means leaving my camera on, even when everyone else wanted to hide behind having theirs off. That means trying to be helpful, answer your teacher's questions, ask the teacher questions when you're not sure. All of those things are going to make the teacher look more favorably upon you. And so when it comes to an issue, maybe there's a grading issue, as we'll address later, they're going to be more willing to help you. And all in all, you're going to make their life better, which is what you're going for. Sixth, find at least a few friends in each class. Again, being online, this is a little bit more difficult, but having a friend in each class is very important, whether that's So you can ask them when different due dates are. If you don't know, maybe you're having struggle with a certain topic and they can explain it more. And conversely, if they're struggling and maybe that's a class you're a little bit more set up in, you can help them. And so for me, again, there's been a couple classes that I know what's going on and I can help a couple of my friends in that class, but there's also a couple where I've needed help or just a question once in a while. And so it's important to have someone there, and at the very least, if it's a horrible class, you can resonate in your pain with another human being. 7th, don't be afraid to question grades. Now, this I didn't see too much in high school or even at the community college, but at a larger university, there were at least 5 different instances over this semester where I was given a grade and I looked at it and it was not the grade I should have gotten. Maybe there was a question they graded wrong, and so I had to reach out to the instructor and have them correct that. So don't be afraid to do that. I'll say there's a couple times I even questioned the grade and the grade they gave me was fair, and there's no harm done by me questioning. Now, if it's every little thing, maybe I would advise you against that. You should certainly pick and choose your battles, but certainly don't be afraid by any means to question the grades you're given, especially if you think they're not reflecting the work you've done, and more often than not, the teacher will see their error and work to correct that. 8th, keep your priorities straight. Going back to scheduling, there's going to be a lot you're required to do. There's going to be a lot dividing your attention. And so if you need to, write down a list, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 things that are your top priorities. Pencil them in so you can visualize that and remind yourself. But otherwise, as you go throughout the day, ensure you're keeping that in mind. The last thing you want to do is spend all of your effort and time and energy only to realize you're working towards something that you don't really care for. Maybe that means leaving a club that's not high on your priority list. Maybe that means spending more time for a certain class that you're struggling in. Whatever that is, you need to be able to take responsibility, see what you need to prioritize, and then put more of your time and effort towards that thing. 9, help other students. This goes back to my 6th point where you're helping other students, but I don't merely mean in classes only. Maybe someone's struggling with discipline to exercise, maybe someone is struggling with scheduling, maybe someone's struggling with anything on this list. And if you have it down a little bit more, there's no reason you can't help and encourage that person. Sometimes this is necessary even if the person isn't looking for assistance. Perhaps they're not working out and you knew them, or you know they want to. Perhaps they're not cleaning their room. It's a friend of yours, they're not cleaning their room, and you know, well, they really need to be cleaning your room. Maybe try to help them out with that. Really, again, what you want to do is help people for the sake of helping people, but oftentimes that'll turn around and the person you helped will be able to give you assistance on something else you're struggling with. Oftentimes it's set up that way that our weaknesses balance and our strengths balance, and we have better students. 10th, plan out each semester. Oftentimes students will go into a college, maybe even a community college, and they have an idea of what they want to do, but they change their majors often, they switch classes, they don't know how long it's going to take, they don't know the credit hours each semester. It is extremely important to plan out all of your semesters. And yes, this is going to take some time, but it is very important. And once you have it all ironed out, you can sit back and just each semester sign up for what you've planned. Granted, this does often change. Maybe you'll need an extra class, maybe you'll realize you want to pick up a minor, but having that backbone is going to help you out. And then as soon as you figure out, oh, I want to add this class somewhere in my schedule, you can do that and alter it slightly. But going in with no plan, as the saying goes, is planning to fail. 11th, call home periodically. This is one I in particular struggle with. Just being busy, not very mindful of my family all of the time. And so, again, you're going to need to prioritize this, but make sure you call your parents, Call your friends back home, call your family, just reach out to people, send letters. It's going to definitely help you, especially when they call back, they send a letter back, they send an email back, but it's also going to really help them out and encourage them. Don't just call back because you need help or you're whining about something, but make your time calling back home beneficial to both of you. And 12th, do some soul searching. This one connects a little bit to my first point as the bookends. Now is your time. You're really seeing who are you. And again, I think a lot of people misuse this and they say, well, I'm not my parents, and so everything good they do, I'm going to do bad. That's the wrong way to go about it. Now is your time to see what is important to you, what you stand for, what are your goals in life, what do you want to do. Again, don't take that the wrong way. Don't look for other people, outside sources. Maybe go to your parents, maybe go to someone you trust, a mentor, and really figure out what your goal is and where you're going towards. If you don't know what you're heading towards and what you're doing, then you're never going to get there. So again, take some time, really look introspectively, maybe even some existential questions. What's the purpose of your life? What are you doing here? And once you figure out those things and grapple with them, that'll also help you decide what you're doing and how to prioritize. Again, as with most things, this is not an exhaustive list, and I'll probably, as soon as I stop recording this, think of some other things I would have liked to share. But here are a few things I've learned, a few things I wish I would have known at the start of this semester that I hope can be of some assistance to you. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.